So I'm gonna go ahead and set the standard for this real quick. This is more of a beta test. So now that we have all of our issues cut, all of our issues handled, we're gonna move on to our first topic: remakes versus remaster. Bethesda Shadow dropped last week Oblivion HD Remaster, and it is fantastic. The reviews are in, and despite no advertisements and no warning, the game hit over 100 million copies in its first week. What's y'all's thoughts on remakes versus remasters?
I've been trying to play it after work, and I mean, I never played the old game, so it's kind of like a brand new game to me, and honestly, I haven't enjoyed the game this much since Skyrim, to be honest.
Well, what are you enjoying about it?
Just, you know, it's a new adventure, a new story that I haven't experienced. The gameplay, even if it is still kind of buggy, it feels fresh to me because I haven't played Oblivion before. And the graphics look gorgeous too.
Marcus Blackwell says the game actually did get advertised plenty on Twitch and YouTube ads. Well, yeah, but it wasn't announced properly outside of the leaks for its first until a week before it released. Dux, have you had a chance to play it?
I haven't. I was really hoping we'd get a Morrowind remake before Oblivion, but you know, can't always get what you want. I haven't had the time to stop and play this one yet, so I'm kind of looking forward to it though. It does look a lot better, at least. I'm excited to see how it actually performs.
So,
but what bugs are left?
Just a pure question for you, Dux. With a Morrowind remake, do you think it would benefit more than Oblivion?
Honestly, from a business standpoint, probably not. But from a personal standpoint, I would benefit from it more.
What about you, Pyro? You got anything to add on to the Oblivion idea?
I've never played either the old or the new game that just released. Lovely Boyfriend Cosmic is playing it, but hasn't got far enough in it to tell me anything. However, I do have opinions on remakes versus remasters in general.
Well, go ahead, lead us in.
Well, I know we briefly mentioned it before the stream actually started, but I feel like the difference between remake and remaster is the substance that is introduced. My comparison I used was the Kingdom Hearts original games versus when they remade them for, I believe the system was the PlayStation 3 or 4, versus Oddworld, Abe's Exodus, and the new Oddworld, Abe's Exodus that they made fairly recently. And I feel like if you're going to do either one, there needs to be some kind of significant change that benefits. I like the new Abe's Exodus. I like the old one, but I really like the new one. I'm not very good at platformers in general, so they're very difficult for me. I love them, but I'm always terrible at them. And it takes me ages before I can even finish it. However, it does add a lot of substance, new gameplay, new style. I love the way they went with the design choices. It looks fantastic. Versus, I'm a little upset when they remastered Kingdom Hearts because I liked all of the older skins for the original game, and I feel like all of the bosses that they changed the skins on in the first Kingdom Hearts, they just looked ugly. It looked so ugly and sad, and I think the only one that I had a good thing to say about was the chameleon from Tarzan's area. And I liked the tribal tattoos versus the camo from the older game. But every other one I had something negative to say about it, and it made me a little upset. I got kind of into the weeds on that one, didn't I? Sorry.
No, you're fine. I was waiting for Lucian to say something. Honestly, I didn't mind the remakes for Kingdom Hearts, and Kingdom Hearts is probably one of my favorite series. I have a tattoo from the game. It was my one and only tattoo.
Nice.
Lucian, if you're talking, we can't hear you.
Son of a bitch. Okay, so I want to open this question up to the floor itself. At what point do you draw the line on a remake not needing to be made? And what would entice you to want to get the remake?
I feel like if you're going to do a remake, rebuilding a previously established game from the ground up, it's gotta enhance the gaming experience. Something that maybe was troubling in the original version needs to be updated and made better, more fluid, fresher, more intriguing in some way, shape, or form.
Well,
It's gotta be juicy. It's gotta be good.
Like,
Well-
yeah, if you're not gonna like improve upon the game, like, don't just make the excuse me, don't just make the graphics better. Actually, make the whole game better. Which is kind of
I
where
want-
the Oblivion remake had a downfall. It's like they could have improved all the bugs and they didn't.
I want new mechanics, but I want the same story, you know?
For real.
some would say Bethesda leaving in the glitches and the bugs, like the audio glitch. Well, not really glitch, but like leaving in the audio that was clearly misused. It was what's what I'm looking for? It was meant to be edited out and just re-recorded, but they left the entire segment in. Some would say that keeps to the feel of if Oblivion was too perfect, it wouldn't feel like Oblivion.
That's one thing to like try to cater to people's nostalgia, but like, you know, say of people making Sky Oblivion finish their project and it comes out, like if they improved upon the original Oblivion with that project, it's probably going to do way better than the remaster because they improved upon it. They didn't just give it a graphical reskin essentially. And not to mention some of that mesh with the expressions just looks janky as fuck.
Marcus Blackwell in chat says, I would get a remake if it had the primary soul of the original, but better improvements for the modern hardware, and the other new additions that weren't unnecessary, also with a graphical overhaul. Would y'all agree with that?
I'd say
I would
yeah.
agree with that.
Really concise.
Have we ever played...
Great opinions.
Marcus is fantastic. He is the cream of a crop style of, Maelstrom Hold member. I've never had an issue with anything he has said. I've never had an issue with anything he has said. I've always been very supportive of his ideas, mainly because most of his ideas we are awesome. So, and yes, I now have a cat on my shoulder. She's going to be a focal point. For those of y'all who do not know, this is the Emperor, by the way, Philippa Georgiou. So you mentioned earlier the Sky Oblivion remake. Do you think that's going to be better or outshadow the HD Oblivion remaster?
Honestly, I think they got a little done dirty and blindsided by the Oblivion remaster because they've been talking about this project for a long time and they were like almost done with it and all of a sudden this game dropped. So I feel like that was kind of weird that happened. I hope they still continue the project and I would still like to play it when it is ready. And I honestly feel like as long as they've been working on it, it'll probably end up being better than the Oblivion remaster. I kind of don't have any doubts about that.
But do we think Bethesda will let that happen? Ducks.
Easily, no. No, and that's probably why the Oblivion remake dropped when it did, too.
So they could make them stop in their tracks like, oh, you're infringing on our IP.
Do y'all think they're going to work forward and remake Skyrim again? Or do you think we might see a Morrowind style?
I feel like the meme that is original Skyrim it's peak and should be left a little bit untouched. If they do redo it, they have to allow for some of the similar like modding that I know a lot of people get enjoyment out of. And they have to have some of the similar lines maybe updated like audio quality on that, but I think they should keep some of those because the meme of it is fantastic, or at least build upon it even. I
think they will absolutely take this like little gap with Oblivion and be like, man, people must have like missed Skyrim, right?
Oh god. Todd Howard's at it again.
Marcus Blackwell says, honestly, my main problem with Oblivion is I want to like the remaster, but part of me kind of gets a bad feeling, and that is I only halfway remastered. There's something missing graphically. And I would agree with that, because honestly, some of the graphics, like I said earlier, the expressions are like janky.
He also says more companies should be like Asper and just re-release their older games. Look how well Star Wars Knights of the Republic does on Switch. I'm not going to lie.
I love Strikes of the Old Republic.
I'm going to take the floor for a second, but feel free to cut me off if you are just as passionate as I am, because I got to be honest, it kind of pisses me off. I have been waiting for the Knights of the Republic remake since they announced it years ago. And at this point, if you're not going to fucking release it, hand it to Lyrian Studios, who did Baldur's Gate 3, and let them fucking do it.
Oh, that would be so good. Yes.
Shameless plug, but I did a whole article on, it's actually the first article I wrote on the maelstromhold.com. If you haven't been to maelstromhold.com, you're missing out. But I did a whole thing about how Knights of the Republic was actually made because the people who were made Baldur's Gate lost the Dungeons & Dragons license and had to do something with the code they had written, so they made Knights of the Republic with Star Wars. It would be so fantastic if after Baldur's Gate 3, they then did an exact style game, same engine and all, but for Star Wars. It would print money. And maybe get Keanu Reeves as Revan. I don't know.
Ooh, I need that in my life.
Ducks?
Cyberpunk.
It did work for Cyberpunk. Marcus Blackwell says, it is not the janky expressions that make me feel like something is off, it is the UI in the world. I gotta be honest, the world being so beautiful and the audio still being like, stop, you violated the law, is very off-putting to me. That's just my opinion. If you're gonna remake it all.
Yeah, I guess it does come across as a little half-assed, yeah.
And I gotta be honest.
Half-ass, you got a whole ass.
I'm gonna target this question directly for Ducks. Out of curiosity, how much of the Elder Scrolls Online Oblivion HD remaster was made by AI? What do you think a percentage base?
Oh, ooh. Really got to throw me out there.
I'm gonna throw you out there like that.
Like, not including what they had originally, just what they've changed and built upon.
Yeah.
You gotta think it's like, at least like 40 to 50%, right?
You're being generous.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So, we had touched base earlier. Bo, is there anything else y'all wanted to say about this topic before we move on to the next one?
I'm just wondering, you think it's more than 50% or less?
Okay, so here's my thought process on it. Okay, I had this thought in my head, and a lot of people said that I was being very pessimistic. And anybody who truly knows, anybody here who knows the strength of the Hold, knows my face is the face of optimism with gaming, okay? I for God's sakes, one of my favorite games on Steam is a clear Black Ops Zombies ripoff. But I digress. They had a week in between announcing it legitimately and releasing the game. This is Bethesda we're talking about. Okay? Like, their bathroom schedules get leaked weekly, and no one even gives a shit about that. You're telling me they had enough time to remake the graphics, to get all these, hey, what's up, Gorilla Suplex in chat? They had all this time to get the graphics completely rebuilt. The engine layered with another engine on top of it. They had time to revamp everything to combat. And no one leaked it until 2 days before. I would give it a crisp 75%, and I think I'm being generous. I think 75% of the game was ran through AI. But I don't have a problem with that. I don't. I'm just saying. What's y'all's thoughts on that? At all?
You said this game sold 100 million copies
That-
the first week?
I think the figure I saw was 100 million players altogether. And that was the...
Okay, 'cause I gotta say, how many of those are Xbox Game Pass?
Oh yeah. It said over all platforms, it registered 100 million plays its first month. Its first week.
Was the question about AI taking over part of creation?
I don't have a problem with AI being used for game generation on remakes. But what do y'all think about it?
For like system things, I wouldn't have a problem because, I mean, robot helping with code, I feel like that's a decent application. But as an artist, I have a particular distaste for AI taking over creation and artistry.
Oh wait.
Frustration with it, that personally, but I feel like that's not the topic that we're particularly discussing on.
That's
as long as it's AI over like the game.
Actually, I have been corrected. Bonnie, you want to take over that comment from Gorilla Suplex? I've been corrected. He dropped some mad facts upon me.
Virtuous was the company that made it. Also, they have been working on it for a while. There's also things that you can't tweak with AI. Gamebryo would not play well with AI.
I can admit when I'm wrong. You know what? That makes a lot of sense.
Speculating.
That is speculation. I'm against throwing out negative information. I wouldn't be surprised if the game was made with a good amount of AI. But I won't be the guy calling out like that. It is a well-made remaster. I'm actually enjoying myself.
So,
But as long as it didn't take over creative process, I don't have a problem with it. Creative process is so important, and it is the human element of any kind of creation. If it gets rid of some of the tedium, I wouldn't mind.
That's fair. I wouldn't mind them taking old games and like building a program that helped make them playable, you know, just to keep that shit going out. Marcus Blackwell says, hear me out, a Star Wars game by Larian set in the EU after the original trilogy, where you can choose a faction race and can have the Force alignment while fighting the threats from that era. That is a...
that comment, but I didn't want to interrupt.
Oh no, but okay, so guys, this podcast is only going to work if we do overstep each other. Don't wait for me to organize the conversation. By all means, jump in.
Well, we kind of got lost in the AI conversation for a second, but like we're rounding back to it, so it's okay. But that does sound like a cool game. I would play that game.
AI ruins everything. No, I'm kidding. Well, you know what? I'll go and shift the conversation towards that comment. Everybody here likes Star Wars. Everybody here has played Star Wars in some form or the other. Starting with Bonnie, let's keep about a minute on this on each topic. Bonnie, what is your dream Star Wars game?
You said that like if Larian Studios remade KOTOR or something like that, that would be dope. But like as far as like RPGs like that go, my absolute favorite is like Dragon Age 2, where like you can pick like audio or like dialogue options, but then your character actually is voice acted. I love that shit. I wish Baldur's Gate 3 did that shit, and they don't. And I hate that. Or like even playing the Star Wars MMO game, I don't remember what it's called.
The Old Republic.
Yeah, that one. Like even that one, all your characters, like you can pick dialogue options, but it's voice acted. I like that in RPGs. I want it to feel cinematic. I don't like the silent protagonist.
Okay.
So like I need more of that in my life.
All right, Dux, what about you? What is your favorite? What is your dream Star Wars game scenario?
Back to the Old Republic, easy choice. It's a good one, but I miss Battlefront 2, like PlayStation 2 Battlefront 2. I don't even think I'd quite call them like a remaster. They're like just the same name but a different game, you know?
Duplex says, something set far into the future past the sequel era. I would like a new era with new characters and new settings. That would be good too.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm getting tired of seeing between episode 1 and episode 6, or even episode 9 to be honest. That was kind of weird. I would like anything, even if it's like the Jedi Survivor series, I would like anything set away from that time era. Show me new characters, show me new planets, show me new stories. Even if it's same ground, show me something different. That's what I loved about Knights of the Republic.
A little further into the future or into the past even, yeah.
Well, I gotta be honest, the Mandalorian show was fantastic until every episode was, hey, you remember this character? Hey, you remember this character?
Have you played the new Survivor games, the Jedi Survivor?
Okay, so I loved Jedi Fallen Order. I would have liked Jedi Survivor more if they kept to their promise. They had promised bigger, badder, better, and I felt like they had less planets to go to. I mean, let's all agree, Jedi Fallen Order fucks FO. Let's just say that, you know?
Fucks FO, yeah.
But they were kind of finding their footing. It was still a good planet, but it was still an annoying planet to be on. But in the next game, like, oh, we got all these new weapons, we got new force abilities, we got new story arcs going on, we're going bigger, badder, better. And then we spent the whole time on Kobo.
I haven't played the new one yet, but I did actually play the first one to completion, which is a feat for me because I'm really bad about finishing games.
Dux, what was your opinion on the Survivor stories? I feel like you were trying to talk about something about it.
You see, the second one gave me a gun and more goth girlfriend, so what's not to like?
Friend of the Maelstrom Hold.
Gotta love goth girlfriend.
Friend of the Maelstrom Hold bought me a copy on PS5 so she could come over and watch, because I told her on the PC version there was small titty goth girlfriend in the beginning of the game, but the PS5 version was better optimized so you could see her in high-res graphics. She handed me $70 on a Cash App card, said buy it, I'll be over tonight. HD small titty goth girlfriend sold a copy. You heard it here first. So go ahead, Pyro, hit that comment. Let us know what he says.
Marcus says AI doesn't ruin everything as long as it isn't generative. I'm rather thankful because that means if I need or want audio made, I can use an AI voice that isn't generative instead of my own. Which AI doesn't ruin everything if it's used in the right way. I, as an artist, am all for using AI to create a reference that I then can use for what I'm creating, as long as what I'm creating stays original. That is the human element of, like I said, creation. You still have to have that heart, soul, blood, sweat, and tears. But when it takes away from the creative process itself, when someone plugs something into AI, posts it, or tries to even sell it, that one gets me worse. When someone tries to sell it and say, buy this thing that I did not make by hand or put any effort into whatsoever. I feel like that kills the creative process and ruins the market for artistic creativity for those that do spend the time and effort and blood, sweat, and tears on creation. These the avatar that I made, that I'm using here, took me at least 2 days of any free time I had. And I am super happy. I'm super happy with how they turned out. They turned out exactly like I wanted.
I'm going to go ahead and go against you for a second, because I actually have a hot take on that.
Alright, shoot. Let's get hot in here.
Spill the tea.
Okay, we're going to keep this. We're gonna.
Right.
Actually, I don't want to spill my tea. I have this lovely tea set. It has a matching tea kettle. I've just been informed that I was incorrect. Our residential fact checker, the Babos, has told me it is in fact a teapot, not a tea kettle.
Well, tea kettle boils water.
Ooh. Yeah, tea kettle's like the metal one that you use to heat up water. You don't put the tea in it.
Wow, I've been told off by 2 people.
Right before your hot take, doesn't that just snap the wind out of your sails?
So, my hot take on this is, I think anything you create to the best of your abilities, you have the right to sell. If you have no artistic prowess whatsoever, and you can't draw a square without using a ruler and 30 hours of your time, and you use AI to express yourself without being greedy, and I do not mean being greedy, if you use it to express yourself to the best of your abilities, and you're proud of it, I think you should be able to sell it without judgment.
Everyone's entitled to an opinion. I will not say anymore.
No, by all means. I'm a big boy.
It depends on the amount of effort they're putting into it still, because if they're like really working with the AI to fine-tune something until it's what they're wanting their desired product to be, I guess maybe that constitutes its effort. They're just using AI instead of a paintbrush because they lack skill.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I cannot tell you how many ideas I've had in my head and that I just couldn't get onto paper. And I have no drawing skill whatsoever. And I've had friends who are like, oh, I don't feel like drawing that. I don't want to do that. I couldn't get anybody to put it to paper. I had this idea. It was, I'm just going to drop it on you real quick in case someone wants to draw it for me or use AI or whatever, because I would love to see it in form. Quick question. 10 points, whoever gets it first. How does the sun go across the sky in Greek mythology?
Isn't it pulled by
Helios.
that one guy? I can't remember.
Yep. Helios has it in a carriage, and he drags it across the sky. Now, in Norse mythology, how does he get across the sky?
Golden Hati.
Yes, Golden Hati chases the sun across. Now, God of War Ragnarok has shown us that Norse and Greek mythology can't coexist. What if both are true, and Skull and Hati are chasing Helios's chariot across the sky? I just want...
I need to think
Now,
about.
Lucian, here's my counterpoint to your hot take.
Okay.
You said that you do not believe you have drawing ability. Do you have any desire to pursue drawing as an artistic form?
Fuck no.
Specifically drawing.
I respect it, but I don't have the time to put towards it. So I know I would like to do it, but I'll never do it.
So it is not a pursuit that you would put much time, effort, or resources in.
No.
Then I feel like you could pay someone to make that and commission it. There are so many artists out there that would be happy to do that piece of art for you based on what you have described without taking away from them by going through AI. And then because my problem with AI isn't, like I said, it's not using it for reference material, it's using it and then selling it specifically. Because if you put effort into it, if it takes coding or if it takes a brush or whatever means, as long as you're putting your heart into it, that is the soul of creation. It's the human nature of creation. But the problem with AI in art is that it pulls from already existing works. AI has to pull from already created stuff to make new stuff. and then someone takes that stuff that is created from a mishmash Frankenstein of what other people created, and then they try to sell it without giving any. They can't give any kind of thanks to the person who created the original piece. They don't get any piece of it, so they're basically benefiting and making money off of someone else's time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears. And it's a very, 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 very rabbit hole version of thievery. And that is my base problem with it, is because they're taking away from that original artist.
As a person, a content creator who does sell things, I have paid for all the art that is on the Maelstrom Hold channel with my name, my logo, and my effort on it. So just put that out there like this. Was done by an artist whose logo. Marcus Blackwell says, to add, I suppose, to Pyro's point, there are pretty popular games in the VTuber Twitter space called Teapotmon, and it was accused of being illegally funded by an NFT and crypto scam. It used generative AI. Well, we're going to touch on that another time. That seems to be a good conversation. I'd like to expand on it on another podcast that we do. But you ready to go on to the second topic?
Of course.
Dux, would you like to lead this one, or would you like me to take it?
So, Pyroclastic had mentioned content thievery. What are your takes on, like, copyright infringement versus, like, Pal World and Nintendo?
John, directly to Pyro, or her personally?
Anyone. Open table.
Bonnie, we haven't heard from you in a while.
I had an opinion on this. Me and Lucian were actually talking about it earlier a little bit, and I feel like I don't know what company does Pokemon anymore. I stopped caring about Pokemon a long time ago.
I want to say Pocket Pair.
Like, if they gave a shit and made better games, they wouldn't have to worry about games like Pal World being more successful than them and infringing on their IP, because they don't do shit with their IP. They produce crap, from what I can tell. I haven't cared to play a Pokemon game in years because they look shitty, to be honest. And I actually enjoyed Pal World. I started playing it recently after not caring about it for a while, and it's great. The last Pokemon game I played, I barely got out of the first town because it just wasn't that engaging. So, like, it's kind of on them that they haven't stepped up and given their fan base the kind of games that they want. And sorry, sucks to suck that Pal World's doing better than you.
I agree. Pokemon has not done anything really good with their original Pokemon, the first 150, from the show, from the games. They had such creative, they had such a creative world. There was so much story they packed into that. Each creature had such uniqueness and draw, and for the first couple of games, the same way. I am a huge fan of the Mystery Dungeon games. I think those were my favorite games when I was a kid, and I still play them to this day. And then there's Pokemon Ranger. Pokemon Ranger, from what I can tell, did amazing, and it has an interesting take on the catch 'em all, you catch and release. Nowadays, I look at Pokemon and I'm a little grossed out.
So Marcus actually, I love the emoji changes. I'm sorry. So Marcus had a thought. He says, "I will say that Pokemon suffers from a quantity over quality issue." Would y'all say that is fair? Other companies scratching the itch that fans want?
Seem to pump out a lot of crap, so yeah.
They literally made a Pokemon that is a bag of garbage.
Wait, really?
I have a problem with that.
I'm gonna pull a fucking Joe Rogan. Hey Jamie, pull that up real quick. I want to see that. What is the name of this garbage Pokemon?
Rubbish.
Rubbish Pokemon. Hold on.
Says, speaking of which, one problem I have with Violet is that it is very hard to quest track.
Holy shit, guys! It's true. It's called. Look at this. It's called Trubbish. It's literally trash. This is
trash and rubbish mixed
Played
together.
Violet. The last Pokemon game I played was like XY or something.
I gotta be honest. When they announced Pokemon Legends Arceus, I thought that was gonna be a new start for what Pokemon was gonna become. And then they started came up with 4 more of the original sets, and they all looked the same. All of them.
They did with Typhlosion. I'm a huge Cyndaquil fan, and Typhlosion being ghost type was so cool.
I just feel like Pokemon lost the plot a long time ago.
They did, and they're redoing another Legends game, but I think it's set in the realm of Black and White, a little bit more modern than the original Legends was, and they already sent out their like 3 starters, and I forget what they are. I think Chikorita was one of them, which I love Chikorita.
I'm not.
The only type I like.
So we're actually getting off topic here a little bit. Where do y'all draw the line on infringement versus inspiration?
And I haven't played Pal World, but I don't think they pulled too much from Pokemon itself. They still had all original creatures. They still had a fairly original gameplay where you actually use them for farming, whereas you just heard about Pokemon used in farming or job skills in the games and shows.
I don't know. I don't know. Hold on.
Many forms of Pokemon games that were so creative. They did so well with it.
I just want to point this out by saying I'm a big Pal World fan. I'm sorry, why am I censoring myself? I love Pal World, but if I can direct y'all to the stream for a second, I want to get y'all's opinion.
Mark has commented on the topic of Pokemon. Would you say the anime or the gaming side is faring better?
I will say the anime is faring better, personally, because the fans are a lot less annoying. Like, they're more proud of what they get versus the gaming fans. I've heard nothing but bitching about Pokemon games, despite the fact that they sell perfectly. What's y'all's thoughts on that?
I just hear a lot of complaints every time I see anyone talking about Pokemon games.
Interesting to play, because Pokemon has always been fairly open world, but not nearly as open world as Legends and Scarlet and Violet have been.
Empty worlds.
It is very empty. There's not as much interest in the world. There's nothing to draw your eye. No natural monuments or formations of things that could be inspired by the Pokemon themselves.
I'm gonna show y'all a picture in Discord, and I want y'all to tell me if y'all think this is inspiration or infringement. These are comparisons between Pokemon and pals, and just so we all see it, just vote. We'll keep it quick. Starting in the left column to the right, what do y'all think? Think about it, pull it up. The Babos in chat said Pokemon walked, so Pal World could run like the wind. Gorilla Suplex also states that apparently they have
Lucario.
We're gonna go down each column. We're gonna go down each one real quick. Just give me a second. Just think about your answers. Gorilla Suplex also says they have an ice cream and a keyring one. How the fuck do you fight with a keyring?
And I forget what the ice cream was. Vanilla ice or something like that?
Oh, wow. All right, so the first one. What do y'all think? Is that inspiration or infringement?
They look kind of similar. Not exactly the same.
I feel like the left is the witch and the right is the wizard. Because I know the right one is supposed to be a wizard.
Yeah, but like, how original is the idea of a fox, though? Right,
right, yeah.
They've had humanoid fox forever.
Wait.
Or a wolf, for that matter.
Wait, did the Lord Almighty copy Pokemon when he created the wolf? Okay.
No shit, sir.
So, let's go to the Anubis and Lucaria. What do y'all think about those?
I don't like the fingers.
Yeah, that's
just saying.
I also don't like the fleshy human-toned fingers and the bottom part of face.
I just noticed that.
Oh. I think this one has the least face out of any of the 4.
They didn't just... We didn't capture animals. That's a whole ass guy. He's got a credit score of 680.
That's a guy in a costume.
Moving on to the last one, though, like, those are clearly 2 different creatures. One's, like, noodly and one's not. They just happen to have, like, the same eyes.
No wonder Anubis is such a great worker in Power World. He's trying to earn his freedom. We caught a guy on Halloween and called him a pal.
I mean, I think he is supposed to be based off of the god of the underworld there.
The god of the underworld's a dog. Why does he have a human hand?
World, I end up calling them Pokemon instead of pals.
It's a new, like,
Honestly, I think pals just sound
the
stupid.
difference between Band-Aid and General Brands.
Or Q-tips.
So getting back into it. Marcus Blackwell says, I will say that the bottom left is inspiration because it's more Egyptian motif. Okay, I'll go with that. I have been corrected. Apparently, he is based off, according to the Vevos right to me, the fact checker for this podcast. She said that it is based off of the Egyptian god Anubis, and he actually does have human hands with a dog's head. So that's pretty cool.
But he just happens to look like Lucario.
I think it's a
That is
jackal
correct. It just looks
specifically.
bad.
It's supposed to be like kind of a jackal, but
It is the jackal god, I do believe.
Yep, Bebos also confirms it is the Jackal God. I'll say the only thing about that strikes me as copyright is the fact that they're in the exact same stance. Maybe.
Very similar.
The holding my
Oh,
hands
God
to
forbid
the
somebody
side
stands the
pose.
same way as you.
Yeah, but look, but that is your picture showing it off, and they're literally just they're facing the same way, the nose. I don't know. I could see that one only. But also,
They have similar silhouettes, I guess. Makes me think of VTuber drama, God.
Let me ask you this.
But
Like, how dare
Lucario
you have a
has
similar
Was
silhouette as
Disney
me?
ripping off Shakespeare when they copied Hamlet for The Lion King?
okay, that's a good question. The Bebos actually gives a good question. So she wants to know inspiration versus infringement. Did Disney copy Shakespeare with The Lion King?
I
Absolutely.
mean, kind
I
of.
think The Lion King
their
was
own spin
based
on
off
it.
of a manga or anime.
So, okay. So it was based off of Kimba the White Lion and character design, but the story is ripped off from Hamlet.
Like literally every
Hamlet.
character. There's a literal.
Yes.
I did
Yeah,
not know
it's
that.
definitely like almost like exactly the plot of Hamlet.
So the character designs were complete. We're talking about infringement here. Kimba the White Lion, the character designs are literally just palette swaps. Like they took Kimba, turned him into like tan, and called him Simba. That's just straight ripping it off. But the story is beat for beat Hamlet. Is that inspiration or is that infringement?
I would call it
Well,
inspiration,
Shakespeare
honestly.
would be like public domain by then, right?
I mean, would public domain take into effect?
Exact same dialogue.
Eventually,
I mean,
you know,
Theoretically,
someone
but
could
still,
come
it's
across
still
with a
the
very
same
similar
argument
idea.
because it's like you're
Look,
still.
kinda
There's
hard
no
to
story. There is no original story. Every story's been told before. It's just have you told the story, and are you telling it slightly different enough to be entertaining? And I feel like Power World does that. It's different enough to be entertaining.
All I'm hearing is it could be similar or more and still not be infringement. I want to shoot Charizard in the face with a shotgun.
Shakespeare did not show PG lion sex to children.
That is true. Shakespeare did not show PG lion sex to children.
Oh,
Disney made
How much
changes.
Shakespeare have they read?
Balos wants to know how much Shakespeare have you read, Dux? Because he in fact did at some point.
Shakespeare wasn't
In
all.
Hamlet, okay, in Hamlet. I haven't.
But was it in Hamlet?
There were sex scenes in Hamlet.
Between lions?
Was there?
Technically, it was an incestuous
children.
relationship because back then, marrying your brother's wife was considered incest.
Okay, that's most of his stuff now.
That's fair. That's fair.
Let's be honest.
Okay, so Marcus Blackwell says another thing that makes Pal World different is that the humans use pals by large and seemingly more exploitative ways and don't see them as much as equals like Pokemon do. Or to put it another way, the humans have more morally complex ways to use pals than the Pokemon humans. That is true.
Yeah, but then you had Team Rocket who exploited the Pokemon as well. So it depends more, I feel like, on the player and how they want to play the game versus how the story is set up in Pokemon.
If you really look into the lore of Pokemon, though, I don't feel like that's true. They just don't show that stuff.
I gotta be honest. I'm just gonna.
Because there are no animals in Pokemon. They definitely eat them.
I want to chime in on this, actually. I want to chime in on this. People always say, oh, in Pokemon, you're nicer to the Pokemon than you are in Power World slavery. If you take a Charmander and you force him to help you do armed robbery against another teen on the street to beat them up and their animal and take their money, is that not also exploitative? And when you look at it, Pokemon games are kind of fucked up.
Part of the game, it's like if you enter certain tournaments, you have to train some way. You train by fighting random children on the street.
Yeah, but like,
It's consensual, I guess.
is it consensual?
It's the most
Wait.
important part of Pokemon battles.
I'm gonna go ahead and throw this on there. Is it consensual, given the fact that most fights in Pokemon games, you just look at them and it starts?
Yeah, right. Like they
Hey,
just attack
You
you.
know what's
They all
gonna
need some anger
happen when
management,
you walk in
obviously.
front of them. It's not my fault your character doesn't want to walk through trees and shrubbery.
So what, does carrying a Pokemon just automatically mean that you consent to a fight?
Okay, we are not getting into conversations about consent and like victim blaming. We're gonna move on to the Switch talk, our last topic before we get on to our streamer showcase before the inevitable end of this podcast. Switch 2, speaking of exploitative. Nintendo, the company most known for its cheapest, family-friendly alternatives, has decided to join the console war for HD gaming consoles slightly late and introduce the Switch 2 to an overall appeal of meh. They're selling us a handheld console for $500, reskinned expanded versions of games for about $80 to $90, raising the price of them. Also reselling games that have already come out for upgrade costs of $20 to $30, as well as Skype features and Discord features with a subscription. What's y'all's thoughts on that?
I think they should have stayed in their lane.
I think I'm still waiting for somebody to sell the Switch on eBay after it's been beat up.
Definitely
Okay,
not buying
so-
one.
I swear I've seen this before. Y'all remember how big the Wii was? And then you watch them drive it into the ground with the Wii U, and then they redeemed it with the Switch. They're doing it again.
So they're just coming out with something even bigger and better, so they're just gonna make the Switch crap first?
There's no way the Switch, even the Switch 2, is really gonna compete as like an HD like full gaming console, you know?
Which
So like if
is
they're actually
good.
coming,
I will disagree. The Switch is good hardware. Switch games, very lacking.
Very, unfortunately. That's what I was gonna say. The hardware, the basis for it, the fact that it can be solo or handheld or console or multiplayer just in your hand, you just gotta have a buddy nearby, is fantastic. But I wish they had more like branching abilities to get games for other systems, because it made me so happy when I found Portal on the Switch, because Portal is my favorite game ever made, absolutely ever. You see my Portal plush right back there next to the alien and chicken nugget? I have that. That is a real life plush that I have. You put batteries in it and you wave your hand in front of it and it talks to me. It is my favorite plushie. It is very dingy. I've had it for years.
I will support you in that. We've disagreed on a lot of things, but I support any gaming franchise that comes with a canonical reason why you can be shot with 100 bullets and still live. I'm there for it.
so I'm gonna interject there just a little bit. You said you wish like Nintendo had the capacity to get those other games on there. They 100% do. Nintendo is the one holding creators back from getting on there, either by having difficult hardware to work with or by adding fees in that prevent people from actually using it.
Well, I was 100% aware of the fact that it had more to do with Nintendo not willing to than it is Nintendo not able to. Because I'm pretty sure they had a monopoly on their cartridges. I think I heard that on one of the Game Grumps episode in Super Mario Sunshine, that they had a monopoly on the cartridges that they had for their older consoles. And if you wanted a game made with them, you had to buy into their company to get use of their hardware for those cartridges.
Oh, it was a massive problem when Nintendo first started. Definitely. That's why the cost of games were so high back then. Everybody's like, oh, games have always been $60. They weren't always. Games were $60 for Nintendo because there's a lot of issues with manufacturing cartridges, getting the licenses together for it, getting the hardware all lined up, distribution to them, to all the companies. It made sense for games to be that expensive back then. But nowadays, with most of it being digital and mass-produced on a high end, games don't require that much input to create. I mean, yeah, there's games like Red Dead Redemption that took a team of thousands together, years. They had a guy, specific job was to spend 8 months animating horse testicles to react in temperature. That game deserves to be $60, $70, $80, maybe even $100. I wouldn't be mad at that. But who the fuck?
I just feel like what's going to happen is we're going to end up seeing that one thing that was at the start of every single VHS movie that had the like super hardcore rock song about piracy is a crime. You wouldn't steal a car.
You wouldn't download your brother. No, I'm kidding.
Funny enough, that song was stolen.
Irony.
The song was stolen at some kind of film fest.
Are you sure? Was it infringement or inspiration? No, I'm kidding. Come full circle. You know, I'll actually mention that. Also, full circle of life, because back to Lion King and Shakespeare and introducing lion sex. So Marcus Blackwell says that. Marcus Blackwell in chat says the biggest problem about the Switch hardware is Joy-Con drift. Yeah, it's funny. For what I've heard, the new controllers still have the same hardware that allows it to Joy-Con drift. Kind of annoying, kind of a soft spot for me.
Yeah, that's dumb.
The Pro Controller doesn't have that issue.
My Switch are not the original ones. I found some really nice ones that feel good in my hands from some other company, and they look like the original GameCube controller. It has the same color scheme and everything, because the original controllers hurt. I don't know if anybody else had that problem. I've got big hands.
Marcus Blackwell says, I think Nintendo just saw how much and how quickly Switch 1 games sold, that they want to increase their profits by having Switch 2 have so many awesome launch games, but at ridiculous high prices. I hate that because Nintendo made $1.5 billion last year. They don't need the profit. They don't need the extra help. It's just pure fucking greed. I will digress on that. I want Nintendo to succeed. I don't want them to succeed at the expense of the gamers having to suffer. But I'm just going to ask y'all a question, just real quick. Starting from Bonnie, then Pyro, then Dux. Do y'all plan on getting a Switch 2 within the first year of its release?
I probably will never get a Switch 2, to be honest. I don't even use my old Switch anymore, and I bought that one used.
Arguably, Nintendo's a company. That's the whole point.
Only if I get it for a really good deal.
There's not even any games coming on it that I want, because they're not. I mean, if I want something, I'll just get it on PC. And if it's not on PC, then I probably don't want to play it anyway.
You're not gonna play Dustbloods? It's It's Bloodborne 2.
I'm not really interested. No, what the fuck? It's not.
It is.
Don't insult me.
It's in the same universe as Bloodborne.
It's not Bloodborne 2 though. It's a fucking.
Maybe it takes inspiration from it.
I'm not getting into that. That made me angry because it disappointed me.
Okay, what about you, Pyro?
I originally was hoping to, and I'll be honest, I didn't get the Switch, my Switch that I have now, until maybe a year or two after they originally released, as a gift from my lovely grandmother. But seeing all the negative stuff about it, I don't think I will until they make something that intrigues me more, that doesn't, gouge my wallet. I don't make enough as it is.
I'm not gonna lie. I will be getting one when I can, conveniently, because I'm not gonna waste money and throw money at it. But as a gaming collector, I'd be remiss if I had an incomplete collection. But I will.
I feel like everyone should not buy it at full price, so we can teach them a lesson.
Yeah, speak with your wallets. And speaking of speaking with your wallets, let's move on to our last segment.
Boycott Nintendo.
Yes.
Yes.
Boycott all games that charge too much for their crap.
I've already been boycotting Nintendo for a while now.
Honestly.
But
like the boycott is not buying their games, but
I mean, I'm gonna buy it, but like when it's convenient for me, like. I want one for my collection because I like physical games. I like having I treat myself as like I tout myself as a gaming historian of sorts. I like having it.
Used for a fourth of the price.
Yeah, pretty much.
Only I could download a Switch too.
You know what? It's kind of funny because someone pointed out that you can buy a set of Joy-Cons and a Steam Deck, and then download a Switch emulator and have a better version of the Switch to go for cheaper than the Switch and Joy-Cons. And I find that hilarious.
Yeah.
But let's go on to our last segment, games upcoming that we are all looking forward to. Bonnie, what do you got coming down the pipeline?
I don't really know of anything new that's coming out, but currently I'm enjoying Oblivion. I haven't finished that yet, so I'm going to be playing that for a while. And then there's that Expedition 33 game that's come out, and I've been seeing a lot of good things about that. I might check that out. But I don't know of anything that hasn't come out yet that I'm looking forward to.
Okay. What about you, Dux?
I am looking forward to Borderlands 4.
Borderlands 4? So...
Yes.
Okay. I know a lot of fans were burned after Borderlands 3. Are you concerned at all about, them rehashing older story arcs, older characters, or just becoming stale?
They actually have like a preview of not like a preview of the game, but kind of like a menu where you can go through and see a lot of stuff on their website. So it's other than, I believe, Claptrap, it's like all new characters, new set of Vault Hunters to pick from. Same weapon manufacturers, but different weapons added in, of course.
Okay, what about you, Pyro?
Good Dog Chasing Shadows, made by Poultry Party Games. I'm very excited for that.
Please let us know about it.
It is a game. It is a horror game that takes place from the perspective of the dog. You are a dog protecting your human. The game creators put a lot of good work and effort into making the dog walk around and move in the environment realistically, and good mechanics. But my favorite thing in the world is that for their Kickstarter campaign, which I think is over now, if you paid and gave them $400, their goal for that $400 was you could send them pictures of your dog and have your dog as a skin in game. I unfortunately could not pay for this. $400 is half of my current paycheck, but I did get a Steam key for $20, and I'm starting to think I would like that to be my first video on the channel.
Fantastic. I'm a go.
Marcus brought up a good point, because I totally didn't even think about that, but I actually genuinely enjoyed the Normal Academy demo. I don't know if they have a release date for that game yet, though. But I am really looking forward to when that game is out, actually. So yes, that is an upcoming game. I just don't know when it's upcoming.
Oh, definitely. If you're not familiar with Normal Academy, on the cold plains of the Neuverse lies a mysterious old school called Normal Academy, when one of the old teachers is violently kidnapped during the nights, and a student named Judith Hovern is the only witness. She must use her wit, powers, and puzzle-solving abilities to save him. I'm excited about that. We actually have content for that on the MaelstromHold.com if you want to check out the demo done by our very own Bonny Abomination. And also mentioned, yeah, that is you. And also mentioned by Marcus Blackwell is something I already had queued up. He ruined the surprise. Is Game Grottos on itch.io. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly or not, but they make a lot of... They make a lot of games on there that are very interesting, very well created. The bathrooms, it's kind of like a play on the back rooms, but this one's going to make you wet your pants kind of thing.
Midnight Mansion one looks like something we should definitely stream as a group.
Midnight Mansion does look very interesting. Of course, you need 3 players to do it, so we might actually do that. I don't know much about itch.io, but I would love to have that going. But
the headmaster.
It's on Steam. The Mansion at Midnight one. I already wishlisted on Steam.
Okay. And one of the last games that I'm actually thoroughly looking forward to personally is something we're doing here on the Maelstrom Hold. We actually are going to be having our own review copy of Doom: The Dark Ages hitting us soon, so expect that content and review coming from yours truly. Somebody, I'm sure. I don't know, maybe me.
I'm looking to get that game. He loves Doom.
Doom and despair. But we're not just showcasing games here. Anybody here who knows the Maelstrom Hold knows that we are not just about games and creators, we're about content and those behind it as well. So I want to take a minute to showcase one of the loveliest people within the Discord community here at the Maelstrom Hold. She has been brought in by Marcus Blackwell, and I believe Marcus will drop her link in. She is live. Well, they are live now. Symbiotic Gaming. It's an online Let's Play series which takes advantage of the 2D graphics and animations combined with exciting gameplay from various games, aimed at providing unique entertainment and experiences through the fictional worlds and stories of actings of May and Cybercore. Set in the year of 2086, the fictional city of Neo Nova, the story of a girl named May unfolds as she is met by an artificial intelligence whose journey to the past and search for her. This AI identifies himself as Cybercore. This is the story of their whole character, their whole VTuber setup is amazing. Cybercore reveals a shocking future. One is that May is destined to change, but only if she undergoes special training. One that, as Cybercore thinks, is most effective, playing those video games. Go ahead, Bon.
Honestly, I've only caught a couple of their streams, but coolest VTuber design concept I have ever fucking seen. Their intro before their stream starts is fucking fire. They make great music. I'm surprised they don't have more followers, because that is the coolest shit I've ever seen. I wish I could catch their streams more often, but they stream a little late for me. But yeah, just kudos to Symbiotic Gaming. They are the shit.
They are fantastic. They are the shit. They are also not only members of our Discord community, the Maelstrom Hold, but they also have their own Discord community. And the one thing I love about them, they have a cool backstory, but they also stay in character the entire time. You'll never catch them slipping. And they are just a joy to be around. Very supportive people. So our streamer showcase from the Maelstrom Hold today is Stand By Out of Gaming. Keep up the awesome work. Keep up the fantastic story and the great vibes you bring to the content creation. But be sure, if you're new here, you're just watching us, be sure to check us out here at the Maelstrom Hold, maelstromhold.com. We are on Discord. We're on Twitter. We're in your back door. You don't even know we're knocking. We have an Amazon package. We just need you to sign for it. Okay? We are the Maelstrom Hold, where we join us, where we turn the tide on gaming. My name is Lucian.
The signature is not for a cult. It's not a cult.
Not
We're
a
not
cult.
Taking your soul. You're not a sacrifice.
Okay, so it's not for a cult, but it is for the occult. But anyways, my name is Lucian Frick, the gingerbread man himself. Thank you for joining us today here at the Maelstrom Hold, the only podcast that is now guaranteed gluten-free by design. Thank you, Bonnie.
I told you not to say that.
I hate it for you. You don't pay my internet bill. Apparently, I don't either with all those problems we were having earlier. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you, Dux. Thank you, Pyro, for joining us today. How we talk about these topics. And we look forward to seeing you all next time.